Alex in the kitchen. Today I'm really excited to be able to share with you my sauerkraut recipe. I'm going to give you some real guidance so you know the exact weights and measurements so you have the confidence to try and do this at home by yourself. So we're going to keep it really simple today. We're going to use a kilo of vegetables, which means you want to use about 2% salt. Use a good quality sea salt. That means you've got 20 grams of salt. So today I've already shredded the cabbage, the leeks and the onions. I'm using leeks and onions because they contain probiotic fibre, which is a really good food source for the microbes. We're going to use carrots for their colour and flavour again. Purposely grated, or shredded rather, the cabbage and the leeks beforehand. So we're going to add the salt, and the salt then will naturally draw out its liquid. So I'm going to pop that all in here. And you can see now it's dry. We're going to add in the 20 grams of salt, give that a good mix around. Okay, so now we're going to grate the carrots and then add them. Great, so you can see without much work, just adding the salt and leaving literally for a small amount of time, you should then be able to grab hold of the cabbage. And you can see, just in that short amount of time, it's already released all the juice. And this is the juice we're going to pack the sauerkraut under. And this is the real take home. You want to make sure the sauerkraut is under enough pressure or weight that the liquid is above the vegetables. If the liquid is above the vegetables, the fermentation process that's going to happen is going to create the right environment for the right microbes to turn up. It's a kilo jar we're using, but actually we're only going to fill it to 800 grams. The liquid rises up and you need to use a pebble, or in this case, a nice glass jar that sits inside and applies enough pressure to keep the vegetables pressed down so the liquid rises up over all the vegetables. Making sure you're pressing it all down, getting any air out as you go. You really want to squash the vegetables down, and you can see as I push the vegetables down, the liquid is rising up. So you want to make sure you get rid of any stray pieces of vegetable, because any bits that are outside of the liquid will rot rather than ferment. So you want to give the jar a really nice clean, make sure everything's clean and dry, and then when you pop the goo pot inside, it should be just enough pressure, downward pressure from the lid that pushes it down, that helps the liquid then rise up, meaning all the vegetables are fully submerged underneath the liquid. As you can see, parts of the sauerkraut have started to float to the surface. So a traditional, more traditional way of doing it is getting a cabbage leaf. You can use any cabbage leaf and just placing that round and literally tucking the vegetables in. That way, no vegetables are going to rise above the level of the liquid. And that's really key for the success of your fermentation. Reapply the goo pot. So that's worked out really well. With the goo pot pushed down, you can see the liquid has risen up, so it's covering all the vegetables. And as I keep saying, that's real paramount for the success of your fermentation. But you don't want the liquid to be too high, because over the next 24 hours, as the vegetables get more pressed, the liquid will rise a little bit, so you need a little bit of leeway at the top of your jar. So to me, that looks like a perfect amount. Great, so when you've got that all set up, you need to set it somewhere out of the way. It needs to be at room temperature, so about 18 to 22 degrees. And traditionally, I just cover it with a cloth, and then I check on it every couple of days. And then with these brilliant kilner jars, you can just release any buildup of gas. And then I normally like to ferment for about 4 weeks. So I definitely recommend leaving it a week before you sample and eat it. During that week, every couple of days, you can burp the jar just to release any off-gassing. If you then leave it another week and then another week and you sample it at the end of each week, you can see the depth and the richness of the fermentation process, and it changes as it ferments for longer and longer. Great, so Organigy obviously makes its own sauerkraut, but now you've got the opportunity for you to try it yourself at home. It's a great ingredient to add to other dishes. We'll be sampling some other sauerkraut seed recipes, some sauerkraut crackers. It works great as a condiment just to go with other foods to really give you the extra digestive ability, and it will really support your digestion over time.